Welcome back to the Mandalika International Street Circuit for the final race of the 2022 Iatc Asia Talent Cup. Season 9 has taken us to 5 different countries, 10 races completed, and our 2 title rivals are still neck and neck.
Give himself a real chance of claiming the Iatc crown, as to see who'd come out on top between Ezawa, Carter and Danish.
Yeah, race victory in race 1 yesterday, his second win of the season after success in race 2 of the Thai Grand Prix at Buriram. And Carter Thompson, the race 1 winner at the Malaysian Grand Prix, very much the man who held, as I said, second position throughout that race. So they, again, as far as the race victories concerned, are the men to watch. Veda Pratama then starts from pole position. Pratama, our race 1 winner, and by a dominant margin as well. He was never troubled, took advantage of the scrapping behind him for second and third positions to escape away. Asia Talent Cup for 2022, the 9th season, the 8th time to escape away, just as he did 24 hours ago for his second victory of the 6 points ahead of this 11th and final race of the 20. Race 2 of the final round of the Iatc Asia Talent Cup gets underway. We watch to see who will claim the whole shot. It's Veda Pratama, the race 1 winner and pole sitter, who is the first away. Carter Thompson into second position, as there were on the grid. Hakim Danish going very aggressively into turn 1 and almost clips the back tyre of Carter Thompson. So no hanging around for Hakim Danish, and neither is there any hanging around for Shinya Ezawa, his championship rival, who is straight through and against Fetasan, who's been dropped down to 6th place.
Yeah, and a good start as well from Nicholas up into the top 5 as well from the 3rd row of the grid on the number 12 machine. As it is Pratama at the front of the field, he's going to be on behind them. Yesterday we saw that the lead group broke away, and then it was a case of Pratama in the middle of the race being able to open up a big gap to everyone else.
Thai rider Fetasan has been dropped down to 7th position now. Rizwanto has come through as they go side by side for 2nd position as early as turn 10. A big action hotspot that was here yesterday.
Yeah, just seeing a black flag is being given now for the number 8, that's for Putra. He didn't manage to get to the starting grid in time, so he'll be black flagged and have to come back in.
Pratama makes the lunge back to the inside on Hakim Danish, who had initially led there at one stage on lap number 1. Ezawa's in the mix as well. This is where it gets tight, much tighter than it was in the early stages here yesterday, to be perfectly honest. 5 or 6 riders very much in that lead group and scrapping over the podium places early on, and they're queuing up, and there's contact already by the time.
Have all those bikes much wider on the run down towards turn 16.
3 abreast coming off turn 16. It was Danish who was stuck up on the outside line, so Danish has got to get his head down now because he has been cost positions mainly. Start of lap number 2 then. It's Shinya Ezawa trying to go around the outside of his way through. Ezawa was pushed off line there going in towards turn 1, and that's dropped him back down the order. Rizwanto moving up into 3rd position.
Yeah, it looks like he's down trying to manage this race as much as possible. Points all the way down to 15th, but it's all about trying to get the big points if you're Ezawa on the number 12 machine trying to get down the inside.
Yes, let's focus on how this group season, and Rizwanto bidding for a first with best results yesterday. Outside of that lead group, we had 2 separate fights further back. I won't say that the race leader was in a fight because he was away and gone, but no such luck this time around. He led every lap yesterday, did Pratama, but he's down in 6th position on lap number 3. 16 laps, so a fair way still to go.
Yeah, it's a long race around this Mandalika International Circuit.
Self and cycle rival Shinya Ezawa, and Ezawa's wide of the curbs, and Rizwanto is going to pull alongside. They all, barring Putra, still running in the group. 3 seconds now covering the top 14, though Lakan is the first to break away from as the Asia Talent Cup race 1 yesterday afternoon. Out for turn 10, it is something of a pinch point. We've seen close calls already through the
overtaking opportunity. That was his favourite spot, and he's made a few moves into there already in this race.
They come in wide as they come through 16. It will give him the inside in time for turn 17. He sweeps back across, and the rest of the circuit doesn't necessarily present major opportunities for slipstream.
You can see there for Nicholas on the number 12 and then Pratama both into turn 1 coming very close as they make their way
in 2nd position. If anyone's going to catch Danish with their head down without relying on a slipstream advantage, it's Pratama, because he's had the pace all weekend.
The rider worth keeping an eye on.
Rider, ironically, who after the 16 laps he led yesterday has led more laps than anyone else in this Asia Talent Cup for 2020. To 4th place. Meanwhile, Hakim Danish is up at the head of the field. He won't mind if Veda Pratama comes through for the race lead on lap 6 coming up, because as long as he sticks with him and stays away from the reach and the clutches of Thompson and Ezawa, he'll be on his way to the Asia Talent Cup success. The question now is whether Danish is smart enough to work in tandem with Pratama just to try and build their gap for the remainder of this this race.
Didn't bite back into turn one. He understands that if they work together, they're not going to cost each other time. So you want to make clean moves in the ATC. It's all everyone with the same bike, so it's all about using that slipstream, not costing each other time. They've got a second in hand on Thompson. Typically when you talk to the riders and the personnel from the ATC about this track, they say half a second is that gap where you can break away from everyone else.
And of course in these small bike, small capacity categories, the key is to keep up your momentum. The one thing you can't afford to do is see that momentum interrupted. Danish coming back through here on Pratama, but Pratama still maintains
the race, but interestingly a couple of tenths of a second faster than anything he had yesterday as well. So track conditions as good as they've been for the ATC riders. Now
top that will be laid down is down, and we see evolving the times gradually improving as this weekend has gone on. Veda Pratama still leads from Hakim Danish in second. Shinya Ezawa getting back alongside Carter Thompson now.
Over the course of this weekend in the last few rounds, Carter riders be able to work with, but for Ezawa, he's already 1.3 seconds behind Danish now. That gap's only getting longer.
Yes, Danish is not going to be afraid of just going with Pratama. He will have seen that Pratama escaped away 6 seconds at the head of the field in race 1, and if he does the same again here, and Danish can stay with from third position, but you don't very often see groups close back together at this rate. 1.5 seconds is the gap now.
Just because of the nature of these bikes, so unless it comes down to a scrap at the front of the field with Danish and Pratama, you're not going to be able to catch them.
So Tryhardika there, who has gone down outside of the points-paying positions. So the second retirement of the race after Putra was ordered back to the pits, and his race
fortunate end to the season for him.
In now to lap number 8, less than a tenth of a second between Pratama and Danish. The gap down to less than a second now, though, to Shinya Ezawa. New personal best lap for Ezawa, as he still continues to scrap with Carter Thompson, with every fibre of his body here to close down the top two.
Battling like that.
Trying to have clear track in front of him to get his head down and close down Veda Pratama and Hakim Danish. But Danish at the moment not only looks like the championship winner for this season, but a potential race winner, just biding his time, remaining behind Pratama. You can see that he's letting off and
Ezawa trying to come through, and Thompson was all about making sure he can make that move. So good racecraft there from Hakim Danish.
It is still Ezawa and Thompson who hold third and fourth positions. So Nicholas afternoon, but increasingly looking likely as though these are the top two in this race, barring dramas, of course. And Danish from here may well just think, do you know what, second place and the championship.
He's just at his personal best and threats out another second over his championship rival.
And Nicholas there on front. Good rate going on behind though as well.
Yeah, it is a good battle going on that number 6 machine as well. So Thompson the whole way through this week.
Plenty to work for further back as well between Gunmie as well as a position away overall.
Yeah, Pratama's had such good form over the course of the second half way through this season. He's certainly one to keep an eye on all the way through the next week.
Earlier on in the season, when of course he crashed out.
Difference right now between them in the championship standings, but you have to say that for the ATC, it's all about making sure that the moments when you can make people step up and take notice of you, that you take advantage of it. Pratama's done that all the way through this season.
Lap 9 is a big one in the context of the championship. Hakim Danish with a new fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute on one lap alone. And unless there are problems now, or unless these two really begin to hold one another up, Shinya Ezawa is seeing the Asia Talent Cup evaporate away with the 7 and the 13 at the head of the field.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to hold themselves up that much. It's going to be a case of if there's an instant between them, as it is for Hakim Danish. He's not willing to make that move right now. He's just
the fight is with Danish, who's now 4.2 seconds up the road.
Well, the problem for Ezawa on the number 21 machine is that any time he's got to the front of this group, it's been the likes of Mikolas on the number 12 machine.
The podium battle.
Yeah, and once again, as we've seen so many times in the past in the ATC, whenever you're battling, you're costing each other time. It's 9/10 of a second they lost the race leaders last time around, so 6 seconds in hand for Hakim Danish. He just needs to cruise the final quarter of this race, and you need to latch onto the back of Pratama and try and win the championship with a race victory.
But when you look further back, third position down, a tenth of a second, a tenth of a second, a tenth of a second, a tenth of a second. The gap between each of the riders from third places down to 8th. Then it's Wakamatsu and Gunmie. So still those places at very least can easily change 2 seconds from 3rd to 13th, as it was just a few short laps ago. As far as the championship is concerned, well, Shinya Ezawa in 4th position, Hakim Danish in 2nd, second, so it would be a more flattering lead than certainly it's looked since the race 1 retirement. The championship all the way since March has Hakim Dinish, despite that retirement from race 1 in Sepang. He extended his...
And that's why he's going to be a rider worth keeping an eye on for the next few years. Obviously the minimum age limits have been rising in recent years for different classes of bikes, so he's going to be on Talent Cup bikes for the next while, but certainly you wouldn't be too surprised to see him racing in Europe as well next season.
Rather look for the moment at least as though he's settling in for second in the championship.
Yeah, half a second behind, but 9 seconds in hand for his championship rival, so it's certainly no reason to be 2 laps to go when they come across the line. That's what you got to do. You're for a podium in the ATC.
Well, that's it. The reality is for most of those riders, they don't really care about the championship standings. They don't care who's champion of the Asia Talent Cup. They're just thinking about whether they can get 3rd position this afternoon. For a lap now to go.
Watch for the number 19 of Haffey as well, because he's been the rider that's slowly and surely picked off one after the other to get himself up into 6th position, and it looks like he's maybe picked up another spot as well there from the time.
Far too much in hand for Ezawa to even dream of making it up. It's over 10 seconds, that gap to 3rd position. Pratama, your race leader. Gunmi is still down in 8th place, so he still has the opportunity to make up those extra positions and the extra 6 points to claim 3rd overall. But it's going to be Veda Pratama who exits the final turn to make it back-to-back victories and dominate his home round, the Indonesian round, the last of the season. And Hakim Dinish crosses the line in the 2nd place that he needs in the final race of the season. It's gone down to the wire, but your 2022 Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup winner is Hakim Dinish. Shinya Ezawa gets the final step on the podium.
And this age as well, so for Hakim Dinish, it's been such a good season all the way through. He's had podiums in the ETC as well, and now this ATC success as well, but it has been a season where he's shown himself to be the rider with the best racecraft in the ATC and a real cool head, and he's had to have it.
This is what I absolutely love about the Asia Talent Cup. Out here, they're as passionate about this category as they are about any other in the world, and they were more enthusiastic about getting a photo with their home hero and race rider back to the paddock and milking it somewhat, as is his right after claiming the Asia Talent Cup here this afternoon. Penultimate rider back is Veda Pratama, your race winner, and a popular race winner, as I've said at that.
Yeah, it certainly is, and here in front of a home crowd, it's a good shout for Hakim in the background as well, so that's good to see here in the paddock as well, and good atmosphere to close out the ATC season.
Fair few signatures on that. You can get nice and close to the action, and that just goes to show you how many evenly matched riders there are just behind that lead trio who have been a cut above the rest in 2022.
Yeah, no, saw in the closing stage.
Yes, and a good ride for Rekat Fadilla as well, between Ezawa and Haffey for Fadilla.
Been a tough end to the season for Gunmia last year here in Indonesia. He was one of the riders to keep an eye on, so certainly he'll be another name that people will be paying attention to going forward. But right now it's all about Pratama as the race winner and Dinish as our ATC winner.
Trophy presentations then about to be and regalia. So here is your first podium presentation to Shinya Ezawa, the 10th, of course, race of the season yesterday, where he was able to get close.
You look pretty pleased with his podium there.
It is Hakim Dinish, though, who takes honours here this afternoon. Only made his debut relative as race victories are concerned. He ends with the 4. 2 of them, though, here in Mandalika earlier on in the season, back in March. That very much put him in pole position as far as claiming this championship is concerned. He saved himself, really, after the 4th.
By everyone.
Now they're all on the top step of the podium to share the moment together. Veda Pratama, your race winner, Hakim Dinish and Shinya Ezawa, 2nd and 3rd in race 2 this afternoon, but 1st and 2nd in the